What just happened on the field was absolutely unbelievable. The crowd was in shock, the players couldn't believe it, and the commentators. Man, their reactions said it all. You've got to see this, because the way they exploded live on air shows exactly how crazy this moment was. Let's check it out.
You are listening to the Sports Bar and Talk Sport. Me, Jeremy Horror, Jason Cundy. Still to come. We get more of your calls on Manchester United getting embarrassed. 03 717 22 33 55. Tell you what though, right? We got to phone Goldstein.
Phone him again.
I know he's awake. Goldstein. Let's phone.
He's not sleeping tonight.
He's not sleeping. His phone's blowing up. I'm telling you, he's going to answer.
Phone him.
Hello.
Goldstein!
Stinks!
How are you, Stinks?
Oh
Stinks!
God, why have I picked the phone up to you two Wallies? Jesus Christ.
Whooping.
Stinks!
How you feeling?
Who is this? Who am I talking to? Are you,
4 till 7? Is that 4 till 7?
Hello, Jay.
Oh, Goldstein, what's going on?
How are you, boys? You good? You all right?
Yeah. Stinks, what's going on, mate, with your football
I
club?
was just listening to a story from Jason Cundy about the Dag and Nat, actually.
Stinks, forget the dag and that. What's going on? What happened to Grimsby, mate?
I've Sky Plus. I've not watched it yet. I'm watching it in the morning, so don't spoil it for me.
No, Stinks, what's going on, mate?
Good team, Grimsby.
Yeah.
Good team. Don't underestimate Grimsby, right? Good players.
Yeah.
Some of them.
Good manager.
Good manager. I don't know really. Do you just want what's rattling about in my head?
Yeah, go for it, Stinks. Go on.
Okay, someone needs to explain a couple of things to me. Oh no, I'm on the receiving end of the violin, aren't I?
It's nothing to do with us, Stinks.
Someone needs to explain to me why we paid £65 million for a striker and he took penalty number 10. I don't really get that. I need to know why Ruben Amorim can't bear to look at penalties like he's 11 years old.
It's embarrassing, that is, by the way.
I just don't get that.
That's embarrassing, mate. He's meant to be he's meant to be the leader.
He wasn't there talking to the players when it was a penalty shootout. I didn't really understand that. Do you know what? I don't understand any of it whatsoever. I just don't know what's going on at the club. I honestly think the manager, I think it's too big for him. I'm going to talk about this on the drive front.
Mate.
It's going to be a good show, that one.
Yeah, looking for that.
Can I ask you both a question? Can I ask you both? All jokes aside,
Go on.
right? All jokes aside, do you think the manager's up for it? Genuinely, because if a club do really well, if they like Thomas Frank, right? He's gone into Spurs. They've played 2 games. They already look like they've got a clue.
Yeah.
Right?
Good side, mate.
We've got a manager who's been there, I think, 30, 31 games, whatever it is, and we look worse. And if we look better, I'd be coming on here going, "Good manager." But so if it's bad manager, it must be his fault, right?
Mate, I think the club, it's right from top to bottom. I mean, the big rat hasn't helped things. I just think that there's so much at that football club that's been... You go back, all right, Sir Alex, right? I know you don't like it being compared, but at some stage you have to go, where were United and where they are now? How are you not going to get back to there? How are you going to get back to the top of the tree?
I think it's probably the worst the club has been in since I've supported United.
That's fair.
I don't recall a time it was worse than this, because when I started supporting them was early 80s and Ron Atkinson was involved, right? And the aspirations weren't anywhere near as big as they are now, right? Because Fergie's been there, won a treble, won everything, won 13 league titles and everything. And so the expectations are huge now. When Ron Atkinson was there, it was like maybe nicking an FA Cup and top 4 or whatever. But
now when I look at Man United, I'm like, okay, things aren't as bad as they were.
Is that me? Is that me?
It's you, Stinks.
Boy, I've got a great voice. I didn't know that.
Oh, matey. Do you know what? I can't wait from 4 o'clock tomorrow. I just can't wait, mate. That is tuning radio.
Can I ask a question?
Go on.
Right.
Goldstein.
Goldstein.
Sensational stuff.
See you later.
He dropped an F-bomb.
He's had to dump himself. That's gone out, by the way, Goldstein, just so you know. We let that go, that one.
Oh, dear.
That's
No,
unbelievable.
I don't think it will be. They've had a really, really difficult night, tough night. I just think in games of football like this, when you play lower league opposition, if you don't do the basics well, you're going to come unstuck. And in a game like tonight, you can talk to me about tactics and systems and formations. Just you had to do the basics well.
But I can ask you about systems and formations, because even when the substitutions happened, even if they weren't like for like, so Mason Mount coming on or Xerxes coming on, they still kept the same formation and put round pegs in square holes, didn't they? I mean, Mount was left wing back at one stage.
Well, we was talking about it. So when he changed and put Mason Mount in that position, they still went with a back five, but they were building with a back five against Grimsby, who was sitting on the edge of the box. So your spare man was almost in build-up when you needed that spare man sort of further higher up the pitch to make an overload out wide or through the middle.
Well, how many times was that spare man De Ligt, for example, in that build-up? You know, he'd be the one joining in, and with the greatest respect to him, you should have an attacking player getting into the box, where a lot of the times it was a defender, an extra man. That it just seems crazy that he's so wedded to this formation at all costs and at any circumstance in a match, that he's almost forcing people into positions at whatever the state of the game is. It just seems absolutely baffling to me that there's just no flex at all, you know, and I just feel that is definitely something, yes, application, understanding of what the game was about. I thought they were miles off it in that first half in particular, as if they rolled up today and just had no idea of what's going to be expected at Grimsby Town away on a wet Wednesday night.
I think it's very easy to talk about United and the lack of everything that came with the performance today, but I was so impressed with Grimsby, the way they played. And I said at half-time, I was expecting this direct football, hustle and bustle, throw-ins, corners, but it was absolutely the opposite. The way they played the right football at the right areas at the right time, they played with an intensity, with speed. They caused all sorts of problems in the first half and could have been 3-0 up before United scored a goal.
What's he trying to say there?
I think he may be referring to the players in the dressing room. Maybe they've spoke up on his behalf, maybe. But listen, he's obviously hugely frustrated with the performance, the way they started the game. They were sloppy in possession, a lack of, like we spoke about at half-time, he alluded to it there, lack of intensity, no speed in the ball, you know, no progression with the ball, and I thought Grimsby were terrific. They stifled United. They couldn't gain a foothold in the game tonight, United, and I mean, for the first 15 minutes, I don't think we've seen United enter Grimsby's half. I mean, they penned them in. It was you didn't expect that.
Look, I know you don't want to talk about specific systems and formations, but he is saying he is seeing things there. He's not seeing anything new that isn't working. He's seeing the same things over and over again. Yeah, so as Natalie said to him, what do you change?
Well, I think the point Phil's making about he doesn't want to talk about, there's certain games, chappers, where that almost becomes secondary, and if you're not prepared to do the basics, when he says my players spoke for me today, or spoke with the performance, he's saying what I think a lot of us thought watching it. There's a group of players that turned up tonight, and when they started that football match, did not fancy being anywhere near this game tonight. You could see it in the body language, you can see it in the attitude. Grimsby got after them. Yes, of course, at no point in that first half did they match that intensity. Did they run? They lost their duels, sprint distances, and I think that's the point he's trying to make. I've put a group of players out there tonight that should be able to go and do a job, and they haven't done it. And it's because they didn't want to do it, in my opinion, and I think he's come out and said that. The system and the formation, for me, yes, should he tweak it? Should he give the players sometimes a better framework? But if you don't do the basics right against anybody, then you come unstuck, and that's what happened for me tonight.
But I've got to keep saying, like, that game tonight had nothing to do with tactics on the pitch. Tactically, had nothing to do with the game. You have to go into games like that, and you have to be alive from the first whistle. You know what to expect. You know it's going to be a tough game. You're playing against lesser opposition who are going to be shouting and cheering for every single ball. You've got to be so aggressive. You've got to concentrate more than ever in any game. You've got to be able to sustain attacks when you're attacking, and it was too easy for them to play out when United were attacking, and then they end up with a 30-yard sprint in behind. I just think tactically it's out the window.
Okay, so if we take character and player personality, I'm sure there'll be United fans, if any of them are still watching, who will go, how many times do we have to go over this same discussion? How many times it has to be? It doesn't matter who the manager is. In some ways, it doesn't seem to matter who the players are, because there are players that he's brought in this summer there. But the same questions were asked under Ten Hag. They were asked under Mourinho. They were asked under Solskjaer. right? You were probably part of some of the squads.
Cheers.
No, but where you would have been, because those questions were asked about the character. So players come and go, managers come and go, and yet this question of culture and character hangs over this football club. How?
Yeah, look, there's no getting away from it. There's no doubt in my mind that any player walks onto that pitch tonight and wants to put a performance in like that and play that way. I won't have that. But it just wasn't good enough. All over the pitch, they lost so many duels. Even for I think it was the first goal, Ugarte and Ahmad got caught in between a duel. One of them should have at least stopped the counter-attack by a cute little foul. The goals they conceded were so basic, and they just weren't at the races all over the pitch. Maybe on 75 minutes they gathered a bit of momentum, but I think that was because Grimsby tired. They got deeper and deeper, and we did call it during the show that, you know, if United get one here, they might get a second one straight away.
Well, you called, though, that it would come from Maguire, which it did. And I know Mbeumo scored, but they still had £200 million worth of new attackers on there, but it came from Harry Maguire. Yeah,
listen, he's a massive threat on set pieces in both boxes. And any time in a game like that where you need a goal and you get a corner or a set piece, he might have scored one against Fulham the other day when he came on as well. So he's a huge threat. But listen, they shouldn't have been anywhere near penalties, really. I think Grimsby should have been 3-0 up early in the second half, but just it wasn't good enough.
The other interesting thing he said towards the end was, we've got a game on Saturday, we've got Burnley on Saturday, and then we've got an international break where we will sort it out.
But the sort it out is the bit I'm not quite sure where he goes with that. One, a lot of the players will be away anyway for international break. But what do? You can't get rid of. I mean, there's players there that have played so far this season. You know, you can't just go and wipe the deck. So again, for me, that then comes back to you as the manager and saying, right, am I getting the best out of this group on a consistent basis? However, I've got to do that. And it might be switching away a little bit from my belief in a system or a formation. And I just don't think he is. You look at the amount of games that he's lost during his time there, week in, week out, they are not getting the level of performance that they should be out of that. Yes, there's underperformance. Yes, there's a culture that needs a bit of a shift, but he is not getting the best out of that group.
It's a bit harsh, this, because I'm probably asking you to try and interpret what he thinks. But do you think he thinks that if he switches, that's a sign of weakness?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Anybody who's that, set on a system and formation, which is absolutely fine, that's what he was brought in to do and implement. Anybody who changes now is going to be seen as a sign of weakness for sure.
I think the players, honestly, now would crave that. If it gives them a better chance to go and win a game of football, for me, I think they would embrace that. And
if you were in that squad, would you knock on his door and go?
100%. I've been in squads, where you're going between the senior pros, right, we need to go and have a chat with the gaffer in what will give us the best way to go and win a football match. And for me, that's the next step. Are the characters in there now? That's the thing I would ask.
Yeah, I've always said that whenever I played in a back three, if you're an outside of the centre half, I've said it so many times that if you don't get the press right and you go 5-6 seconds late, it has a knock-on effect all over the pitch, and then you end up getting there late, and all of a sudden, in 2 or 3 passes, you are so disjointed all over the pitch. And it's what you've seen in the first half. So many little corner runs down the side, 2v1. They should have scored straight after the second half kicked off. That should have been 3-0. I just felt they were so disjointed. And it's unfortunate because I watched the Arsenal game and I thought they were really good. In possession, out of possession, I thought you could see an improvement from last season. Guaranteed. Fulham first half, first 30 minutes, I thought they were really good. Attacked with intent. Could have been 2 or 3-0 up inside the first 15 minutes. But tonight we didn't see that tonight.